Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Board of Directors of the Granada Community Services District for Thursday, August 21st, 2025. I'm Barbara Dye, the Vice President. Our president is out of town today and will not be participating. But we do have another director, Wanda Bowles, who is participating. I'm going to speak to that. Wanda? Doesn't she have to say something?
No.
It's not.
Okay.
It's listed on the agenda.
It's on the agenda, so she will be participating remotely. So can we have a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Director Bowles.
Here.
Director Allen.
Here.
Director Dye.
Here.
Director Marsh. Also in attendance is General Manager Chuck Duffy, Legal Counsel Bill Parkin, and Assistant General Manager Hope Allen.
Thank you. Do we have any members of the public who'd like to speak to an item that is not on the agenda or is on the consent calendar? Seeing no hands and no one in the audience, move on to regular meeting agenda, recreation activities.
No. So just a few quick updates for you guys. We do have some events starting up. We will have our next sound bath on August 26th and again on September 23rd. That's with the bowls, and it's a meditation type event. October 11th, we have a birding walk with Donna Pomeroy, and we also have a recycling event that day. And then we are starting regular chair yoga classes in October that'll be going on Wednesdays. And I'm also in discussions now with somebody to offer a regular yoga class as well weekly. We are back in discussion with library staff about some children's programs or story times here in this room, and also working with Consent Land Trust to get another nature journaling program happening this fall. And then other agency events, just as a reminder, our first flush event is coming up. The training for that is going to be on September 10th. They're always looking for volunteers to help with that. There are a number of events coming up with Harbor District, including the beach safety run and the cornhole tournament, which they're hosting this year. So, and then finally, skate ramp updates. That's the most exciting part.
Yes.
They did finish today. They wrapped it up today. So we will officially open the ramp back up tomorrow. The fence won't be removed until Tuesday, but we will go ahead and unlock it tomorrow afternoon.
What time do you know?
Can pick a special time if you guys want to come down and sort of be there. It's just going to unlock. I just want it open for the weekend. And we do have a temporary camera on the premises, but we are working with the fire department to see about putting a permanent zoomed camera up on the fire station, the old fire station.
I stopped by when they were working on it, and they could not, they were just so happy that it was going to be back in service. They were so appreciative. They're very excited about the park, and it was just all in all a very positive thing. And I saw the number of screws. They talked about how many had been removed, and it's kind of sobering, but it's just well done. Great job.
Yeah, they when I went for a walk at lunch, and when I came back through after my walk, there was actually a skater on there testing it out.
Great.
He was very excited to be the first skater out there checking it out. So he said it was perfect. So
Expert opinion.
You didn't yell at him for jumping the fence?
no, still at that point. Still, yeah.
I have some feedback for Recology on the recycling events. Apparently they, although they, you have to be a Granada resident, they only allow one car, which is a little different if you have a Honda Civic versus an SUV. So we had something large that was divided between two small cars. And they said you can only have one car. So they unloaded one, went and transferred back to the one. And they still said, no, you can only have one car per family, which was a rule I hadn't seen before.
Okay.
So, and then it was all transferred to my car, which was a new car and face they hadn't seen. So it eventually all got done. But, if we still had the big SUV, it would have been in one car. So I thought that was kind of tight.
It doesn't seem fair to penalize people of a small car.
Yeah, agreed. I will reach out to them and talk to them about that. I'm sure they'll.
As long as you have an address in El Granada,
Exact.
they should let you in.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know.
And they did take all the documents that, I went through all the historic documents that were passed on by Fran Pollard and ended up with 3 banker's boxes of what I thought were documents worth keeping. But there were a lot of duplicates and a lot of agenda packages and so forth, which I hope helped me talk to them so that they would take and dispose of the paper, all that extra paper. So that was a good thing. Worked well. Anything else on this topic?
I mean, just putting it out there that if either of you wanted to do any history walks in the fall, to let me know what your schedule might be. I mean, we do have the birding happening in October, but if we wanted to try and get something in September.
I'm happy to do a history walk.
Okay, in September,
Yeah.
you're around?
Yeah,
I'll email you this week or tomorrow or early next week and we can figure out a date. Because those are always popular. So I
Yes.
think it's good to keep.
I'll look at October, like maybe later in October.
Okay.
there was somebody posting historic documents on Nextdoor, and I put the link there to what we did. It's so funny because people don't realize how much is out there already, and they were sharing that wonderful full-page ad in the San Francisco paper that said, "You want to buy a home here because it's a bunch of capitalists, rich capitalists who will do a good job building this community," which just cracks me up every time I see it. But I don't know that everybody knows that Barbara Vanderwerf gave us full-size, right out of the old newspapers, the original ads, which is really cool. So we want those in our, or probably a duplicate in the community center. We can have those, which will be great. Anything else? Okay, update on Granada Community Park and Recreation Center.
So just, I had shared with the board members, but just to let everybody know that there was a presentation to the Midcoast Community Council on July 23rd that Tom Conroy of Kinkle Conroy Rose did. Just to kind of give them some updates on where we were with things. They had some questions in preparation of their pre-application referral letter that they were working on. Also, the GCSD application for conformance did pass without really any discussion at the Planning Commission on August 13th. And then the public workshop has now been scheduled. They just confirmed a date yesterday. So it will be September 25th. From 6 o'clock to 8 p.m. And Ray Mueller's office in the Harbor Villages is going to host that for us. So we have plenty of space. And so that is set. So we will start really pushing that date out.
What was the date again?
September 25th.
And
I unfortunately-
I have a question.
Yeah.
What does that entail, actually, the workshop?
Is
there a set agenda and, program?
Yes, to some extent. So I mean, I think Tom Conroy will give a presentation of the overall park plan and just, sort of where it is at this stage. And then, I think a lot of times they'll break into groups and discuss things. It's, again, a little odd because we've already done so many outreach events, but the county will sort of lay out what the format will be for that, because they are technically the hosts of this workshop.
So are they going to, each of the county meetings I've been to before, they have hired somebody to come in and design and facilitate for them? Do you think they would do that versus park staff doing it?
I think Luis with planning department, who is in charge of scheduling it, I think he'll sort of be overseeing it. But as far as presentation and information, it'll come from our park project team.
Okay.
And that's good news. Tom did a good job of bird dogging them politely, to keep, like, can we get a date? Can we get a date? It's good.
His presentation, I thought at MCC was a good overall overview presentation. It was a good discussion afterward. There's two things that I took away from that. One was there's some general confusion that the agencies that might be related don't talk to each other. But I tried to make the point that you and I met with the fire department. Jim Pruitt reached out to me before they published things about their parking lot. We share territory with the Harbor District. So we do actually talk to each other, I think, more than people know.
And we've met with Caltrans a couple times.
Oh, we met with
Staff.
Caltrans, we met
Right.
with Connect the Coast Side, we met with anybody who might have an interest in it along the way. The other comment, and Kimberly MCC has brought this up several times, that this project may affect more than Granada, so more than Granada should be involved. And I'm really unapologetic about disagreeing with that, respectfully disagree. Granada's paying for it, but I also don't think that a lot of people know, because it's now more than 10 years ago, when the CSD was approved by LAFCO, one of their requirements, because they would have liked something that covered the whole mid-coast, was that GCSD reach out to Montera Water and Sewer to see if they would like to join forces and put their property tax money into doing something for the whole mid-coast. And they politely declined. And so GCSD was on its own, but it's in Granada's neighborhood. It's being paid for by Granada taxpayers. And more people may make use of it, but it's just a little park and recreation center. I'm sure a lot of the mid-coast will benefit, but I think the people paying for it should have what they want.
I completely agree with that. We also, in all our 53 public meetings, all our outreach and surveys and everything else, didn't turn away people who wanted to comment.
In the surveys, we limited the surveys to people in Granada.
Right.
But at the workshop that we had people from Montera and have.
As we always never said you can't make a comment, and we listened. So
I think one thing that'll be important going into the public workshop too, though, is just to really make it clear to the people attending and when there's discussion about it, not to conflate this project with other district plans
Right.
for a parking lot or Caltrans or any of these other things that are being discussed. I mean, we need to make it crystal clear that this is the same project we've been talking about since 2017. And we're not talking about building another parking lot on the northern end of the Burn Strip that somebody else. So.
Oh, I think should probably take this offline with you when Jen is back in town. But we have the ad hoc committee specifically on the community center, and those can also get mixed up with each other. This is really for the full project plan. The ad hoc committee is still ongoing, taking a little longer since we didn't get a lot done during the summer, but that committee is still doing its work.
it would be nice to have that though soon, because I think it is important to the community that's why we agreed to do it. It's because it's got a lot of issues that we want people to understand.
Yep.
So I know it'll be great when it comes. Anything else? Anything, Wanda? Anything to say? Matt?
No.
No one in the public want to comment on this item? Right. Moving on to engineers report.
Okay, any questions or comments? Good news is we had our first kickoff meeting with Kennedy Jenks, Excel and John Rayner on the upcoming sewer main replacement project. So we've identified we're going to do some CCTVing to check out some of the stuff. We first set this plan in motion in 2018 or 19, and we just want to check on some things to see, are there more pressing needs than the lump we've previously identified? So we're going to move forward with that. And it's all going well.
Well, in fact, I noticed this many times when the collections team reports on issues in the three agencies. Just as in this most recent one, there were no maintenance calls in the GCSD service area in June. So they have lots of problems in the other districts, and they occasionally have one here, but it's usually the response is call a plumber.
Yeah,
So,
and
it's nice to see.
There's different issues that happen. Obviously, sometimes it's cheaper, easier to keep cleaning the line twice a year instead of replacing it. But if you have offsets and other things, replace it.
Look forward to that report.
Yeah. And then he reports, which I'm sure you guys will have more on the SAM progress on their design build. And other than that, we're just chasing down old items. So nothing new and exciting to report.
We did have some discussion with John Rayner regarding the project that San Mateo County was doing on the storm drain on Ferdinand. Just so you guys are aware, they did have to they had to cut part of our sewer line because they had their storm drain going directly underneath it. So they ended up having to, they did it very well. I will say it was very fast, but they had to contact one household there, ask them not to use water that day. And then they had everything staged so that they could very quickly cut that line, do the rest of the trenching they needed to do and shoring up, put in their storm drain, and then immediately reconnected the line. So it was impressive how quickly Andrini pulled it off, but it was a little nerve-wracking and a little frustrating, frankly, that San Mateo County hadn't presented those plans to us, because we would have immediately, as John said, run it parallel. Don't cross the sewer line. It's kind of a strange way to do it, but it worked out, and they were quick and efficient, so that was good.
Anything else?
Nope.
Moving on to report on sewer authority mid-coast side meetings. Go ahead.
Okay. We've had 2 meetings since our last meeting. One, and just 2 things that I would highlight that came up at those. One is Half Moon Bay had requested an agenda item for SAM to do an inflow and inundation study on its gravity-fed pipes, which, as I've now tracked down, are about 2 miles of pipes. And it's not in the SAM's budget, and actually the SAM staff didn't particularly support it. They didn't think they needed it. And then the main reasoning was there was a lot of, for the big storm events where there was a lot of inflow, I think as one of the Half Moon Bay members said, Half Moon Bay is getting blamed. So they wanted, and they're checking their pipes, so they thought SAM should also check theirs. We generally just didn't agree. There's not enough gravity-fed pipes from SAM to create that kind of problem.
Right.
And so it ended up being, there was a motion to go ahead with the, at least RFP to price out a study, but it didn't pass. The vote was 4-4. SAM is no action. The other significant discussion we had was at this last meeting, the getting ready for installation of the grit pumps, which will require $57,000 beyond what was originally budgeted. I had checked with Kishan earlier in the day on where that, he said it would come from other projects. But one of the things that I want to start tracking is from which project. And is that a project that's done and has leftover money? Or is it a project that if we take this money, we're going to come back later and say we don't have enough to finish it? And so Kishan identified one that was done, the cybersecurity project. But it ended up
Wasn't
being
done. He decided not to do as much as originally was budgeted. But yeah, there was money.
Money left.
There was money
A
left.
couple of years ago, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was $100,000 that hadn't been used from that budget. But it was a good discussion on we need more transparency of those. And so when we say we're shifting money around, even though the financial policy allows them to move money between accounts, we still on that CIP project overview, which I credit Director Dye for insisting that they have and track, and it's in every Finance Committee meeting pack. We talked about elaborating that more to show if money's been transferred in and out and make that much more transparent on how much still needs to be spent, where they're going to come up short, where they have moved money from one project to another. It's not terribly confusing to read, but it could have more information just to make that transparency better. So we ended up with a sort of a 3-part motion to approve the grit pump installation, to specifically move the money from the cybersecurity project line, and to ask the Finance Committee to review fund transfer policy and that transparency of funds moving around.
Yes, I just wanted to say that several years ago, I said, why can't the staff report say where the money's coming from? And it was before you were on the SAM board, and I got no support. So,
For some reason, Debbie Ruddock was very big on it this time.
well, actually, it was Paul who was the one who was most, but the Half Moon Bay people were on board with it. It was just such a refreshing change.
Well, it's so basic.
I know.
Well, they're paying a lot more attention to how money is spent.
Yes. And they also are going to revise the chart to remove projects that are done from that CIP list. I mean, if they're done, we know whether they, what the final net result was. And then, so what we're going to be looking at is unfinished projects yet to be done, and, projects that are underway.
You just don't want to lose track of the money that was left over.
No, I don't.
Projects that
Yeah,
are done.
I
I know
agree.
you won't let that happen.
I know you will be right there on it.
Well, it was interesting. I looked at that Finance Committee report when you sent me the link. And I was looking at what was the one, the emergency generator, which they had prioritized. And I think you all remember we got a 5-year capital budget from Sam, and I disagreed with the pacing of things because they went over our limit and whatnot. But that was listed as a priority. Now it seems they can push that out because of the electric.
Which is $1 million.
Yeah, right. So.
But that number is dubious too, $1 million.
Right. It's dubious, but either it's a priority, it's the emergency generator for the treatment plant. Either it's a priority or it's not.
Yeah. The agencies have already funded it.
Right.
So they're sitting on the funds.
Right.
So that's where we need to make sure those funds stay on that project until that project is done.
Right.
Yeah, so I thought it was a better discussion than we have had in previous years.
Yeah.
And I credit Nancy for that. She does a great job.
I think Michelle gave me the feedback that we actually discussed something until we found our way to a solution,
Yeah,
which was a refreshing thing to do. Other than that, I think the new boiler is going in. The second boiler is being fabricated. 3 water pumps are going in and the grip pumps are going in. So there's lots of little things they're finishing up on that CIP list.
and that's something I want the community to know is that we have spent a lot of money in the last 5 years on the infrastructure at SAM. I mean, you will still hear that, oh, everything's a mess, but you look at the list that was proposed 5 or 6 years ago of the things that needed to be done. So many of them are done, and it's great. It really is nice to see it.
Well, the last 5 years, budget has been
Yeah.
around $3 million. That's $15 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's substantial.
Yeah. And one last thing, which is sometimes what happens is they buy the equipment and then the issue is the cost of installing, which has gone up considerably and is not always factored into the actual budgeted cost. And that's reasonable, but should be thought about. So,
One of them, actually, you just reminded me, in this one,
okay.
no, it's a fairly small project and they had to go out 3 times, basically
Yeah.
begging people to submit bids. And they finally got 3. And the one that they ended up selecting, the lowest cost one, was the first one that came in. But they went through 3 rounds of going back to people and they said it was just, they're busy with a lot of big project work and these are small projects and they just don't want to go through the work of going through a bid from.
Yeah. And we see that a lot down south because we're kind of in the same boat. We're not big enough. We got lucky and we got this one little group that's kind of been servicing us for the past 3 or 4 years. Before that, yeah, people going after $5 million jobs, not $50,000 jobs.
It's the same with the electrical building. It took 3 rounds to get anybody to bid.
Yeah. Great. Anything else on sewer authority? Moving on to the consent agenda. Does anyone want to pull anything from the consent agenda?
So Nancy had pointed out an error on page 32. We neglected we had Director Allen moving, but we didn't have the second in the vote. So we corrected that. So
Okay.
it now says on item number 4, page 32, it's Alan Bowles approved 5-0.
Thank you.
So we have a motion as amended.
So moved.
Barbara, I know you mentioned consent agenda earlier, but that was just for public comment. Just make
Right.
sure there's actually nobody who wants to speak on.
Okay.
consent.
Is there anyone who would like to speak on the consent agenda? Seeing no one and no one in the audience. Thank you.
Okay, or on Sam or the engineer's report. Or on Sam or the engineer's report. We didn't do it. Anyway,
Okay.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Do we need a roll call on this? Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yes, because Rhonda's away.
Director Bowles,
Yes.
Director Allen,
Yes.
Director Dye,
Aye.
Director Marsh.
Yes.
Okay. Consent agenda passes 4-0.
Moving on to committee reports. Anyone have any reports? Seeing anything? Anyone from the public? Well, I guess committee reports, but I guess someone could comment. Moving on to information calendar. Attorney's report,
No report.
general manager's report,
Got nothing further.
administrative staff report.
Nothing much, but there's an administrative staff memo. So if you've had any questions about that on page 48. and it does sort of buttress what you were saying earlier, Nancy, about us having discussions with other people. I attended a meeting with the Coastside Chamber of Commerce put together that had, it was myself and Ray Mueller, somebody from Caltrans, Matthew Chittister from the city, somebody from from Peninsula Tourism Group, just different people talking about the various projects that everybody is working on. It was a great little brainstorm for an hour, and it's going to start happening monthly. So, again, we do all talk to each other. It doesn't mean that all of our projects are going to align time-wise perfectly, but we are in communication. So
Great. Great. Anything further? All right. Is there anything more? Shall we adjourn to closed session?
I just want to flag a future agenda.
Oh.
Since actually Director Dye just reminded me, we should put on that list the ad hoc committee report out just with a TBD.
And I think we're going to have Ray Mueller come and talk to us next month about medians.
Yes.
Might be interesting to gather Dave Olson's report and is there a tab on the website for the documents we have about the medians, our attorney's opinion and Dave Olson's report?
not on the website.
Yeah, and we've decided, since we have no responsibility for them, we don't have that up there.
Okay. All right. Anything else? All right.
Closed session item is one item concerning comments of legal counsel, existing litigation. Details are on the agenda.
Okay. All right. Anything else I need to do?
Just adjourn to closed session.
Sure.
I just let's adjourn to closed session.
Okay, we have to give a break
Yes.
for PCTV to go.